Just the theme of this year's Youth Takeover is freedom. I pondered what connection the three scenarios that Allison chose to create skits have to do with freedom. I've concluded that what it means to be free, you must connect full and complete trust in the Lord with full and complete obedience to the Lord in the way that you live and think and speak.
Psalms 119:44 through 48 in the Beerin Started Bible provides a framework to highlight the freedom lesson learned, though the experiences of our study characters. First, let's let the Psalms reference speak to us.
I will always obey your law forever and ever, and I will walk in freedom, for I have sought your precepts. I will speak of your testimonies before kings, and I will not be ashamed. I delight in your commandments because I love them. I lift up my hands to your commandments, which I love, and I meditate on your statutes. Freedom is not always doing those things that you want, but true freedom is being able to follow God's rules. Freedom is not letting your flesh control you. Freedom is speaking things that line up with your testimony and not being ashamed before kings because you don't speak in alignment. Now let's relate freedom to our characters in our skits.
Shabbat Shalom. First Joseph, reading from Genesis 40:14-15. But remember me when it goes well with you, and show me kindness, please, and mention me to Pharaoh, so that he will release me from this prison. For the truth is that I was kidnapped from the land of the Hebrews, and here too I have done nothing wrong that would justify putting me in this dungeon. Okay, verse 23. Nevertheless, the chief cupbearer didn't remember Joseph, but forgot him. There's freedom in trusting God no matter whether people come through for you or not. There's freedom inside of us when we can wait upon the Lord. Freedom does not always come the way you think that it will. Joseph used his gift of interpreting dreams, all the while placing his trust in God, whom Joseph knew would truly set him free.
Reading from Daniel chapter 6, verse 11. Now when Daniel learned that a written decree had been issued, he went into his house where the windows in his upper room opened toward Jerusalem. 3 times a day he knelt down, prayed, and gave thanks before his God, just as he did before. Daniel was free to obey God. People were paying attention to his freedom, and they were watching to see what he would do next. Verse 21. As the king reached the lion's den, he cried out to Daniel with a voice of anguish. The king spoke out to Daniel, saying, Daniel, servant of the living God was your God, whom you serve continually, able to rescue you from the lions. There's freedom in a life's testimony before a king who is unable to sleep all night, concerned with Daniel's fate, who runs in the morning to the lion's den and finds no injury of any kind of Daniel. God has shut the lion's mouth because Daniel trusted in his God.
Our last skit tells one of Peter's stories. Acts 12:5. So Peter was kept in prison, but prayer for him was being offered fervently to God by Messiah's community. Verse 11. Then Kepha came to himself and said, Now I know for sure that the Lord sent his angel to rescue me from Herod's power and from everything the Judean people came hoping for. Freedom is to love one another, pray for one another, and trust God to move through all of our lives. God can and does set us free from all evil and sin. There's freedom in casting our cares upon him. In summary, our characters taught us that freedom is realizing that in this life there are situations where there's nothing that we can do but turn the whole matter over to God and let him handle it for us. True freedom is then in rejoicing in the Lord, in your full and complete trust, and in your full and complete obedience. Proverbs 3:5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not into thine own understandings. In all thine ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path.